a mafia, because he had questioned the domination by certain actors and had spoken about, in fact, the same word that is used in the Hema Commission report. He had spoken about a mafia, and there were reports that he himself had said that for 10 to 15 years he had not got any work in the Malayalam film industry because he had chosen to take on some very influential people in the industry. And therefore, the bigger question about the film industry itself, and while we are seeing all this activity in Mollywood itself, this does not seem to have gone to the other industries where presumably similar conditions may prevail, but we are not hearing any noises from any of the other industries.
Well, that's going to be an interesting thing to see, whether this actually spirals beyond the boundaries of Kerala, because let's make no mistake, these are stories that one has heard of, time and time again from several places. In fact, actor Meenu Munir, one of the actors who's come forward, has now put out a post on social media where she's alleged that she is now receiving threats. It is imperative, therefore, for a speedy investigation to be carried out as far as this case is concerned, to ensure that women who have in fact spoken out, don't have to fear for their lives or their safety and security. We will, of course, continue to get the very latest information from Uma on this big story, but my colleague Abira also spoke exclusively with filmmaker Damayanti over the whole issue. This is what she had to say.
Malayalam film industry, we just saw a Hema committee report which was made public, and the amount of people that came out and spoke about the exploitation that women go through in that film industry has shook not only the Malayalam film industry, but all the industries around India. All Malayalam, Tamil, Hindi, Bengali, everybody is talking about it. Can you tell us, as a part of a Tamil film industry, what have you faced? Do you think, like a Hema committee report, there should be a report like this from every film industry? And also, please don't you think that Hema committee report is just a reflection of what is happening to women in every workplace?
First of all, I would sadly say that there is no such possibility of any Hema Commission report in Tamil film industry, as of what I know. Because here, women don't work as a collective, as Malayalam film actors like Parvati, Asha ma'am, everyone works. And there is total demarcation in the work pattern of women who are working here. And I don't think that such an event would ever happen in the recent times in Tamil film industry. Although, yes, in every film industry or in each and every field, we completely know that there is exploitation of women in terms of sex. In terms of sex, that you would be promised that you would be given a chance to act, a chance to play, a chance to think. But this is the worst saddening part, where you finish your work and you move on. I have experienced that myself.
All right, well, more breaking news that is coming in at the moment. Now, there is another actor who has in fact come out, actor Sonia Malhar, who's filed a complaint with the DGP against an actor who harassed her on a movie set. This is the latest information coming in at the moment. Let's go right across to Uma Sudhir, back with us. Uma, like we've been saying, with every passing day, more and more women are feeling empowered to speak out. There is now another complaint that's been filed by actor Sonia Malhar.
Yes, indeed. And the interesting, or should I say significant part, is that these women are now coming out with their names in the public. They are talking to the media, they are talking to social media, mainstream media, and going to the police, and not minding that their names are out in the public domain, which means that there is a certain sense of confidence that that this debate coming out in the open has created among these women. And yes, a Hema Commission report is quite unique in its own sense, because after the assault on a woman actor in Kerala in 2017, that's when these 17 to 18 women came together and they started articulating, and the Women in Cinema Collective has emerged as a very significant body, a very important body that is showing the way forward for the rest of the industry across geographies, I must say, because it is under pressure from the Women in Cinema Collective that Pinarayi Vijayan, Chief Minister of Kerala, had agreed for the Hema Commission with Justice Hema, actress Sharda, National Award winner, as well as IAS officer Valsala Kumari. And the findings of that report certainly are the reason why everyone else is now able to come out and speak about it, and the SIT has been ordered. So while we were talking about the Malayalam film industry and whether something like this is possible, what we are understanding, our colleagues are also telling us, in Bollywood as well, that no, actors are not willing to yet come out there and speak about the conditions in their own film industry or even comment on the Hema Commission report.
All right. Well, clearly this is one of those stories that continues to spiral. We have more and more women now feeling empowered to come out and complain. And one sincerely hopes that the SIT will do justice to these, to these women, and justice will be meted out as far as these complaints are concerned. Uma, do stay on with us, because we'll continue to track another important development that has taken place yesterday with you. BRS leader K. Kavita walked out of jail. She had tears in her eyes. This after the Supreme Court granted her bail in the excise policy case after 5 months of being in prison. The top court has granted her bail in both the CBI and the ED cases. K. Kavita said that there was a vindictive agenda against her and she will fight it out legally. She's the second politician to be granted bail in the case after Aam Aadmi Party leader Manish Sisodia. Earlier, the Supreme Court, remember, had questioned the enforcement directorate in the CBI over fairness as they investigate opposition politicians and others in this matter. Let's just listen in to the political reactions first.
They were always tough. We are fighters. We will fight it out legally. We will fight it out politically. We were always tough. By sending us to jail illegally, they only made BRS and KCR's team unbreakable.
See, Kavita getting bail today indicates the clear nexus between BJP and BRS. We have been saying that BRS and BJP party are in close nexus for the last 10 years. Now it got exposed.
Let's go right across to Uma joining us for the very latest. Uma, BRS leader K. Kavita walking out of prison 5 months after she was first arrested in the liquor policy case. It was a very emotional K. Kavita who walked out of jail. Of course, the investigation in this case still continues.
Yes, indeed. So, 5.5 months since Kavita was picked up by the Enforcement Directorate from her home in Hyderabad on the 15th of March, and subsequently, of course, the CBI arrested her in Tihar jail as well. Last night, when she walked out of the prison, of course, she was meeting her son, her husband, her brother, her cousin, all her party leaders as well, and there were firecrackers. And yes, Kavita was very emotional, and understandably so. And she spoke about coming back with greater strength to show that the BRS is a party that cannot be broken. And we are expecting her later this evening, in fact, in Hyderabad. What I must point out is the observations that are made by the Supreme Court in this particular case. There are 3 important things that they said. One, that the charge sheet has already been filed, that the investigation has been completed, and therefore there is no reason to not grant her bail, because trial is going to take a long time and one could not say how long it is going to take. The second thing is the court was quite, scathing in their observations in the Delhi High Court single judge making those observations and denying her bail on the 1st of July, saying that just because she is educated or so-called sophisticated, she cannot be denied bail, and that is a misdirected kind of an interpretation of the law that had been done by the High Court, and also saying that they do not think that the iPhone, ASG had argued, saying that she had reformatted her iPhone in order to try and conceal evidence and that she was capable of influencing witnesses. But the court did not buy that, saying that changing something in their personal phones may have been done not necessarily for changing the content or not allowing the evidence to be come up in front of the investigators. So all that was dismissed, and the court took the view that she can be granted bail, and therefore 5.5 months later she has come out. Politically, the BRS has been on the back foot ever since her arrest, and in fact their setback in the assembly elections was followed by a zero that they drew on the Lok Sabha seats. And these allegations now coming up, the Bandi Sanjay, who is Union Minister of State for Home, in fact, making an allegation suggesting that the Congress and the BJP and the BRS have suggesting that the Congress and the BRS have come together, and that's how she has given bail. And KT Ramarao has in fact reacted to that, saying that easy casting aspersions on the Supreme Court by suggesting that there is a political tie-up linking this to the election of Abhishek Manu Singhvi as Rajya Sabha MP from here. On the other hand, we heard Mahesh Gaud talking about the BJP and the BRS, saying that this is just one step away from their merger with each other and that they would work politically together, and that's how Kavita has managed to get bail. So politics on one side happening, and yes, Kavita has said she will fight this legally and also politically.
Thanks very much, Uma, for joining us with all that latest information. We'll keep coming back to you for more updates on that story. Remember, Kavita, as she walked out of prison yesterday, said that she continues to fight this both legally and politically. Moving on, there were chaotic scenes, to say the least, that were witnessed on the streets of Kolkata yesterday as the entire city turned fortress after the police intercepted a protest march to the state secretariat over the rape and murder of the 31-year-old doctor at Kolkata's Archikar Medical College and Hospital. The riot police used tear gas shells, water cannons and batons to stop the protesters from marching towards the secretariat. Some of the protesters were also seen throwing stones towards the West Bengal police. Now remember, after the chaotic scenes yesterday, over 200 people have been arrested. The BJP has once again given a call for a 12-hour strike in West Bengal today to protest the police action. The West Bengal government has called this a politically staged protest to destabilize the Mamata Banerjee government.
घिनौना एटीट्यूड, घिनौना, इन लोग का जो पीछे का स्पाइनल कॉर्ड है ना, वो बेच दिया है, पूरा बेच गया है। आज जिस तरह से पुलिस सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर को अमान्य किया है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट बार बार बोल दिया है कि आरजी का रिलेटेड इशू में शांतिपूर्ण मिছিল में आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हम लोग देखे हैं पूरा निरस्त्र स्टूडेंट, बुजुर्ग, बच्चों, उसके ऊपर पुलिस उठा के पत्थर उठा के फेंक रहे। इसका पिक्चर मेरे पास है। लाठीचार्ज किया है, वाटर कैनन दिया है।
Let's go right across to NDTV. Saurabh joining us live with the very latest. Saurabh, after the violent scenes that were witnessed in the streets of Kolkata yesterday, you were of course there in the thick of the action covering the protest. The West Bengal BJP has once again called for a 12-hour bandh. What's the situation today?
Well, in some places, BJP supporters have been trying to block people who are going to work or generally going about their work. In fact, at the Esplanade metro station or at Paikpara at BT Road, BJP supporters have tried to block roads, etc. But yesterday's violence was really shocking. There was stone pelting, there was vandalism, there was, damage to public property, petrol bombs were thrown, policemen were brutally attacked, and this was done by vandals, following which the police had to use force to maintain law and order. And they, of course, used water cannons, they used lathi charge and tear gas to disperse these vandals who were pelting stones and attacking policemen and destroying property. Now, this, of course, has led to the BJP again calling for another day of a bandh. And bandhs are something that West Bengal, has seen in the past. It's not something that people of West Bengal have always supported. But bandhs were largely seen to be a thing of the past, at least as far as Bengal was concerned. But now, of course, again, there has been a Bandh call, and the BJP supporters are trying to, disrupt transport or roads, block roads, and including metro. But obviously, the Trinamool Congress, the ruling Trinamool Congress, says that they will, of course, maintain public order. People will be allowed to go to work. They will also, be able to access facilities. In fact, the Trinamool Congress has also, appealed to the railways and to metro authorities that please keep services functional and, not to give in to protesters who may try to block the public from accessing these public services. Now, in the context of Bandh specifically, and especially in the current scenario, you would remember a few days ago there was a Bandh call given in Maharashtra. And, one has to look at the Bombay High Court order on what it said about Bandhs. But despite that, the BJP, of course, is in power in Maharashtra, and there, of course, other parties in opposition had given the Bandh call, but they withdrew the Bandh call after the Bombay High Court order. So the Bombay High Court order is also very clear. That's the latest on a series of court orders on Bandhs, and perhaps better sense will prevail. But again, Bandhs are something that again has been called, and the BJP is trying to make it a successful one, while the Trinamool says the BJP is trying to create anarchy and chaos in Bengal to destabilize the state.
Right, Saurabh, we'll keep tracking the details of what's going to happen today with you. Of course, this continues to remain a huge story for us, as remember yesterday's scenes, if they are anything to go by, one sincerely hopes that those aren't the type of scenes that are witnessed today. The BJP, of course, has called for a fresh Bandh. Moving on, the Supreme Court appointed National Task Force to formulate a protocol for healthcare professionals ensuring their safety and security met for the first time yesterday. Today, the Union Home Secretary and the Union Health Secretary will both be chairing a crucial meeting on doctors' safety, and interestingly, state DGPs have also been called to participate in the meeting. While it is, of course, one of those meetings that is extremely crucial, doctors across the country will wait to hear from the government on what are some of the key measures that are put in place. Tanushka joins us with the very latest. Tanushka, crucial meeting. Doctors, of course, called off the agitation after the Supreme Court demanded them to do so. So all doctors are back on duty. But nothing's really changed on the ground, and all eyes will now be on these crucial meetings and also the recommendations of the NTF.
Rightly spelled out, Rishika, that's the case. On ground, the situation remains quite the same, and a lot relies upon this National Task Force that was set up by the Supreme Court upon the directives of the Supreme Court last week, when it was taking suo motu cognizance of the RG Court rape murder case. And what we know from the first task force meeting yesterday is that so far 400 suggestions have been received by the NTF. What we also know that today as well, another high-level meeting will happen of the NTF, which will be co-chaired by the Union Health Secretary as well as the Union Home Secretary, and Chief State Secretaries as well as State Director Generals of Police will also be there in the meeting. This is primarily to discuss measures, short-term measures onto the safety and security of medical professionals within states. So in this meeting, state suggestions will be received, and what we also know is that a national portal has been opened up by the Health Ministry, and this portal is titled under suggestions to NTF, and anyone, be it medical health professionals, doctors, can send in their suggestions onto this online portal. And mainly at this point, the NTF is focusing on taking suggestions and formulating not just from doctors across, but from state-specific chief secretaries as well, with respect to doctors across the country and the state director generals of police, to understand what safety precautions as well as what measures and provisions can be made newly in these hospitals. What we understand from this is that baggage as well as person checking centers will be required at every entry point of these hospitals, and along with that, what we know is that separate infrastructure-wise, separate rooms for males and females are under the plans as well, separate sleeping rooms, that is. So what we're awaiting at this point is, of course, the interim report which the NTF will submit 3 weeks from now, and then the guidelines, the final list of guidelines will come out 2 months later. So the National Task Force is in its way of preparing for safety and security measures for medical health professionals across the country, which doesn't just includes doctors, but everyone in the health care industry. Back to you.
All right. While the task force, of course, has met yesterday, today it's another meeting that is taking place between the Home Secretary, the Health Secretary, and of course state DGPs. It's going to be very interesting to see what really happens there. Tanushka, we'll keep coming back to you as you track that important meeting for us. Speaking of meetings, after taking oath as the Prime Minister for the third consecutive time, Union Council of Ministers are all set to meet in the national capital, marking it the first meeting of the Modi 3.0 cabinet since the portfolio announcement. Prime Minister Modi will be chairing the Council of Ministers meet at the Sushma Swaraj Bhavan. The meeting is expected to only take place at around 5 p.m. this evening. Sources have said that at least 6 ministries will be giving presentations. Plans have been made for the roadmap ahead of Modi 3.0, what the first 100 days in government is really going to look like. My colleague Aishwarya tracking the details of this story. Aishwarya, crucial meeting, the first Council of Minister meeting to be chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at 5 p.m. this evening in the national capital. What more are you picking up? What's on the agenda?
Well, certainly on June 9th, Prime Minister Narendra Modi took that historic oath as the Prime Minister, and this time it's a coalition government, and therefore the reason perhaps important portfolios had been given to the alliances as well. It is TDP's Ram Mohan Naidu is holding the aviation ministry. It is Chirag Paswan of the LCP holding ministry as well, and perhaps it is the first time after Prime Minister Narendra Modi to put as the Prime Minister, and he will be chairing this Council of Ministers meeting. All the cabinet ministers and the MOS will be in attendance at Sushma Swaraj Bhavan at NDTV at around 5 p.m. And what the sources have clearly indicated to us is that at least 6 of the ministries will give presentation to what they have done in the last in last few months of the governance, and what's their roadmap ahead, and rest of the ministries will also give their presentations in brief to Prime Minister chairing this meeting. Remember, it's at 10:30 a.m. today when the cabinet meeting has also been called by Prime Minister. Important decisions, of course, are on the line as far as the agenda is concerned regarding the infrastructure project, regarding the aviation projects as well in the country, and some major funds to be allocated in terms of the finance departments as well. Remember, yesterday it was stated by the government that 10 years of PM Jandhan Yojana had already been completed, and that had given light to all those middle class people who had assured that their accounts are opened, and 3 crore more accounts are to be opened in next 1 year, and that's the target of the government is. And what's going to be the major projects and how the roadmap of the government would be in the next couple of years is something that will be on the agenda as far as the councils of meeting at 5 p.m. today at Sushma Swaraj Bhavan is concerned, but a very important one as far as governance is concerned, because Prime Minister has always emphasized that good governance and governance for all is the key of Modi 3.0 with Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, and therefore the reason perhaps there would be review meetings, and there would be consultation that is also done from various ministers of Modi.
All right, Aishwarya, we'll continue to come back to you for more updates on that crucial meeting. The first 100 days of the Modi government 3.0 will be discussed. It is, remember, a coalition government for the first time under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and all Council of Ministers under one roof at 5 p.m. to deliberate on what the first 100 days of the government should look like. Well, moving on to the other interesting development that we're tracking, the government has put its best foot forward as far as farmer grievance redressal is concerned, with the Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan now putting in place a mechanism to monitor grievance redressals for farmers, setting up a forum for monitoring farmer complaints. Complaints will be registered via phone calls according to the new mechanism that is being put in place. Let's make no mistake, this is a farmer outreach coming in close on the heels of elections in Haryana slated for the 1st of October. My colleague Anurag Dwari now joins us, and obviously Gurpreet Singh China also tracking the details of the story from Haryana. Both join us on the broadcast for more on this story. Anurag, to you first. It's an interesting move. Obviously, the timing of the move is equally interesting, but break it down for us. What is the Agriculture Ministry's plan of action, or how is this grievance redressal different from what the ministry has been doing so far?
Yes, I think for the timing, I think Gurdeep, will explain. But as you have asked for this, the broader plan of Shivraj Singh Chauhan, basically he urged the officials, for offering on-ground solution to the farmers. So he urged the officials, scientists, ministers to go sit in the field with the farmers and understand. Like he also quoted an example of farmer building poly house and then not receiving the subsidy for the poly house. So he urged. Basically he said that they will prepare a mechanism where everything will be on a phone call away. These are small issues, and farmer really struggle a lot, because we have seen in several areas of Madhya Pradesh also. So basically he said that the officials will be just a phone call away, and he will personally monitor all the grievances, because we have seen what MP has achieved during his tenure as Chief Minister of the state, because when the national average of agriculture growth was around 3.8%, MP grew at more than 7%, and the state also received Krishi Karman Award for several times, and now 60% of the population of the state is engaged in farming. So he basically said that a mechanism will develop, and he also prioritized few things like he said, boosting food security, reducing production costs, ensuring fair prices, compensating for natural disasters, diversifying crops, and preserving land. Because few days back, while talking to Shivraj Singh Chauhan, we pointed out that how in Madhya Pradesh we have soil laboratories, but we don't have enough soil scientists or the machinery for testing the soil of the farmers. So these are the small issues, but farmers struggle a lot. He also said that the farmers are not only annadatas, but they are also Jeevan datas. He mentioned that how during the COVID time, the farmers were the ones who were generating employment. So in a sense, he tried to say that, look, you will also have to look into their problems, and for this we are here, and we will address their grievances through whatever mechanism we can develop. Back to you.
Right, Anurag, very interesting to see, what the roadmap is also coming in from, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who's been the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, and Anurag also breaking down what his track record has been as far as agricultural development is concerned. Gurpreet, I want to come to you at the moment, because let's make no mistake, the government's big move for farmers coming close on the heels of the Haryana polls. There's a lot to be read out there as well. Given this government's previous history with farmers and the farmer agitation, that is going to be one of the most palpable issues in the Haryana election.
Well, yes, rightly that could be linked with the Haryana polls. The move which has been taken by the central government, it seems that they are trying to woo the farmer voters in Haryana. We have seen there was a huge impact in Punjab and Haryana for this farmer protest, and specifically these states, the BJP was not able to get the result up to their expectation. Now in Haryana, the polls have already been announced in the state of Haryana, and we have seen not only the central government, not only the agriculture minister is trying to woo the farmer. So many times we have seen even the Haryana chief minister, he has given statement in favor of the farmers, saying the farmers, they will definitely vote for the BJP. Even yesterday we have seen, he says the farmers are not linked to Jats, but they are patriots, and the patriots will definitely prefer to cast vote for the BJP. So these things one can understand, one can read in between the lines also. The move which has been initiated by the agriculture minister, it can easily be linked with the Haryana polls, and one can easily understand in Haryana the main challenge for the BJP to woo the farmer voters. We have seen during this farmer protest, there were a lot of BJP netas who are targeted by the farmers, saying why they are not raising their voice before the central government, why they are not representing the farmers before the central government. So these farm laws should be immediately immediately withdrawn. And so many times we have seen the farmers held a protest against the Haryana BJP government also. So let's see this move which has been just initiated by the Agriculture Minister, whether this will give benefit to BJP in Haryana polls or not. That is yet to be seen. But as of now, it seems not only the state government is trying to pacify the farmers, and we have seen even the central government, they are also trying to take steps in favor of the farmers. Back to studio.
All right. Well, thank you both very much for joining us in that very comprehensive update as far as the government's farmer outreach is concerned, the modalities of the new grievance redressal mechanism, the man in charge of it, and of course the timing of it all. Moving on, BJP Central Election Committee will be meeting today on the sidelines of the Haryana elections to finalize the list of candidates. The committee is going to be chaired by none other than Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President JP Nadda. This meeting is going to happen in Delhi today, and the names of all 90 candidates for the elections in Haryana that are slated for the 1st of October will in fact be taking place. Remember, Amit Shah, the Organisation General Secretary BL Santosh, the Haryana Chief Minister Naib Singh Saini, the former Chief Minister Mohanlal Khattar, and the State Unit President Mohanlal Badoli will all be participating in the meeting. Gurpreet is still with us. So Gurpreet, it's a crucial BJP huddle ahead of the candidate announcement. The election, of course, is on the 1st of October. But, how easy or difficult is it for the BJP to put its flock together and come out with that list of 90?
Well, what we have learned from the sources within the BJP, they are trying to discuss all the political strategy from all over the prism. What we can understand the development and the work they have done during these two terms which they are ruling in the state of Haryana, that is the prime strength of the BJP. So they are also trying to find out all the candidate and their performance also, so that they will be able to understand who is the winning candidate from this constituency. So what we have learned also, it is also, there are also a lot of reports, some candidates tickets will be cancelled because it all depends upon the performance of the candidate in the constituency. And what we have learned, they are trying to get the feedback from grassroots level workers, so that they will be able to get the maximum connection with the grassroots workers, and they will be able to make the government third time. So if this meeting is very, very crucial for Haryana politics and specifically for the BJP party, and we have seen a lot of candidates, they have already applied from different constituency for getting the ticket as a MLA candidate. But now it all depends on the party high command, how they are going to make the political strategy, whether they are going to revive all the previous candidate, or they are going to make a changes in the new list which they are going to discuss, and after that they are going to release for the MLA candidate in the state of Haryana. Back to studio.
Thanks very much, Gurpreet, for joining us with that comprehensive update. We'll, of course, keep tracking the details of the story with you. It's a crucial BJP huddle at BJP Chief JP Nadda's residence. This will be a crucial meeting in determining the BJP's strategy and candidates going forward in the Haryana elections. Speaking of elections, the filing of nominations for the first phase of Jammu and Kashmir polls finished yesterday. Now, all nominations for the first phase of the election had to be filed. The deadline was yesterday. That's already happened. The state will the first phase of polling, remember, will take place on the 18th of September. It's a three-phased election as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, and leaders cutting across party lines, including several independent candidates, have made a beeline for the DC's office to file their papers. Banned outfit Jamaat-e-Islami is fielding at least three of its former members as independent candidates from various constituencies of South Kashmir. Meanwhile, the BJP has released a list of 29 candidates for the second and third phase of Jammu and Kashmir polls as well. So far, the BJP has announced a total of 45 candidates across the three lists. What's also interesting is the fact that the Congress and the NC have sealed the deal. They are contesting the election, remember, in an alliance. And the NC, of course, getting the lion's share, over 50 candidates of the NC, over 30 of the Congress party. Now, a war of words has erupted between Delhi Minister Saurabh Bharadwaj and the Lieutenant Governor over the recent crisis at the Asha Kiran Hospital, where 14 people died due to a shortage of doctors and staff. Saurabh Bharadwaj has blamed the Lieutenant Governor's office for the shortage, while the Lieutenant Governor's office has said that it is due to the absence of the NCCSA committee meeting. Now, this is a committee that is largely responsible for coordinating and monitoring various services and amenities in Delhi, including healthcare, education, sanitization and infrastructure. The Aam Aadmi Party Minister Saurabh Bharadwaj accusing the Lieutenant Governor's office of spreading chaos and misleading Delhi, arguing that this committee has no relation with the matter and the Lieutenant Governor's office is just making excuses, even highlighting a 30% vacancy in doctor posts. Let's go right across to Shreya joining us with the very latest. Shreya, this clearly is the latest flashpoint between the Delhi government and the Lieutenant Governor's office, with the technicality of a committee meeting being cited as the main reason behind that tragedy at Asha Kiran. Okay, I'm afraid we aren't able to
14 deaths, and that was stemming from the reason that it was highly understaffed. And Health Minister Saurabh Bharadwaj has also pointed out that 30% of doctors' posts are vacant, and the LG is supposed to fill them, and it has not been done so far. The LG, in response, has said that these hospitals, several of these hospitals that were constructed under the Aam Aadmi Party government, those remain incomplete, and the fact that the Delhi government has not given a clear-cut plan to sort of initiate to fill the vacancy of these doctors' positions, and this war of words has begun. The Saurabh Bharadwaj stating that 30% of doctors' posts are vacant, and on the other hand, the LG office has issued a statement responding to these allegations made by Saurabh Bharadwaj, stating that 38,000 doctors' posts are yet to be created, and filling of these posts comes secondary. But then these many posts are yet to be created by Delhi government. He has also gone on to say that the LG office has also gone on to say that this officer of Asha Kiran shelter home was appointed by the Delhi government and not the LG, and that Saurabh Bharadwaj is lying about this matter, that the responsibility is on the LG and not the Aam Aadmi Party Delhi government.
All right. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, but do stay on with us, Shreya, as we track another story, which is, of course, once again the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP, engaging in a bitter war of words. It's a flashpoint over the transfer in PWD, with the Aam Aadmi Party now alleging that transfers and postings are being done secretly inside the Public Works Department without the National Capital Civil Service Authority approval. The Delhi LG hitting out and saying that this is Aam Aadmi Party's propaganda of abuse. So the second flashpoint over PWD transfers there, Shreya, what are the details?
So the main point of conflict has been that this so-called committee, this National Capital Territory Delhi Committee for Services and Amenities, this committee is supposed to hold meetings to take these decisions when it comes to appointments. And earlier we have seen that PWD postings and appointments have been made without this sort of committee holding meeting, and this is what Saurabh Bharadwaj points out, that when it comes to the PWD appointments, such appointments are taking place in the absence of this committee's meeting. But when it comes to the doctor's appointment, which is the need of the hour and it caters to public benefit, that's when the LG office is citing excuses of the meeting not taking place and the lack of approval of the Chief Minister, of the Delhi Chief Minister. Is the LG office is citing these reasons for the lack of filling up these posts, these doctors' posts.
Thanks very much, Shreya, for joining us with all those updates. All right, moving on. It's been a decade now of the government-launched Jandhan Yojana. The government of India, marking 10 years of the Jandhan Yojana, has called it a decade of financial inclusion, saying that Jandhan forms the backbone of India's digital economy. Government claims that a total of 531 million Jandhan accounts outnumber the population of the EU, calling it a massive achievement. 2.31 trillion is the balance in the beneficiaries' account. This is a scheme that has enabled support for around 2.31 million women account holders during COVID, and over 55% of Jandhan accounts belong to women. The government has said that this is a scheme that has been hugely successful, and millions of people have been connected to formal financial system via the Jandhan Yojana. With that, we're going to slip into a very short break. News and updates on the other side. We'll get you a roundup of all the top sports news with Rika. Do stay tuned.
Get the magic of the best working for you now.
Link your payment cards once, collect rewards forever.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels.
Welcome back. We start with the news of US Open. It was history made at the Flushing Meadows as the longest match in the history of the tournament was played out between Britain's Dan Evans and Russia's Karen Khachanov. The match lasted for 5 hours and 35 minutes. Evans was 4-love down in the decider, but somehow found the mental strength to win 6-7, 7-6, 7-6, 4-6, 6-4. In a tense finale, the Russian, whose 23rd seed, saved 2 match points before hitting the third into the net. Evans has around 48 hours to recover before playing Argentina's Mariano Navone in the second round on Thursday. The Paralympic Games in Paris begin tonight. Sheetal Devi started her archery journey in 2022. She won the Asian Para Gold in 2023. This summer, she is at the Olympics to win her maiden Olympic medal. At 17, Sheetal, the armless archer, is already a star. My colleague Vimal Mohan spoke to her and her coach. Listen in.
शीतल ने बहुत कम समय में जो पहचान हासिल की है, ऐसा बहुत कम खिलाड़ियों को होता है और दुनिया भर के खिलाड़ी चाहे कोई भी खेल खेलते हो, किसी भी विधा में खेलते हो, सबके लिए शीतल एक इंस्पिरेशन है. और दिस इज़ द इनिशिएटिव समर्थ बाय हंडे इन पार्टनरशिप विथ एनडीटीवी. हम इस तरह की पहल करते हैं और इस तरह की कहानियाँ आप तक लाते हैं. सबसे पहले शीतल, आपका ये पहला ओलंपिक्स है, बहुत कम उम्र है आपकी, लेकिन आपको मैं देख रहा था, लोग तस्वीरें खिंचवाना, फोटो खिंचवाना, आपके पास ऑटोग्राफ के लिए आना, ये आप अभी सुपरस्टार बनी हुई हैं?
हाँ जी, जब से मैं आर्चरी में आई हूँ 3 साल हुए मुझे आर्चरी में। मैं श्री माता वैष्णवी श्राइन बोर्ड में प्रैक्टिस करती हूँ। श्राइन बोर्ड का भी बहुत बड़ा हाथ है, माता रानी का आशीर्वाद है कि इतनी कम समय में, इतनी छोटी उम्र में मैं यहाँ ओलंपिक खेल रही हूँ। मेरे लिए भी बहुत खुशी की बात है। मैं बहुत खुश हूँ सर कि यहाँ पे मैं खेलने आई हूँ। ये माता रानी का आशीर्वाद था कि मैं थोड़ा सा जल्दी गेम में, अगर थोड़ा सा लेट आती शायद मैं यहाँ पे नहीं होती।
अच्छा शीतल, आपको सब स्टार की तरह देखते हैं। वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप में भी जब आप गई थी, सब आपके साथ फोटो खिंचवाना, आपने किसी के साथ आपको लगा आपको फोटो खिंचवाना है, कोई खास खिलाड़ी?
एक मैट मिला था सर वहाँ पे, तो उनके साथ मैंने फोटो खिंचवाया था सर। वो भी पैर से चलाते हैं सर। उनको भी जब पहली बार जब मैंने आर्चरी में नहीं आई थी तो मैंने उनकी वीडियो देखी थी सर। तो सर जब वर्ल्ड चैम्पियनशिप में मुझे वो मिले तो उनके साथ में मिली और मैंने फ़ोटो भी खिंचाया सर, तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा मिलकर भी।
एक तो ये है शीतल है, लेकिन इनके जो गुरु हैं द्रोणाचार्य, मैं इनसे बहुत हैरान हूँ। मैं 3 साल पहले इन्होंने शुरू किया और शुरुआती दिनों में ये नॉर्मल एबल्ड बॉडी आर्चरी में जाती थी और वहाँ जो एबल्ड बॉडी में, वहाँ भी मुझे याद है गोवा में आप लोग नेशनल्स खेल रहे थे, 51 या कुछ इस तरह। ये जो हैरानी मुझे इसलिए होती है कि क्या आपको पहचान कैसे होती है इस तरह के खिलाड़ी की?
सर, खिलाड़ी चाहे एबल का हो या पैरा का हो, मैं किसी भी खिलाड़ी को देख करके एक मतलब आइडेंटिफाई कर लेता हूँ कि ये प्लेयर कैसा कर सकता है। तो शीतल को जब मैंने देखा तो मुझे मतलब अपने आप में बहुत खुशी हुई कि मुझे एक ऐसे बच्चे को सिखाना पड़ेगा जो वर्ल्ड में पहली बार करेगा फीमेल कैटेगरी में। तो शीतल को देखा मैंने कि मतलब आर्मलेस लड़की है, बहुत छोटी बच्ची है और हमारे यहीं से है, क्योंकि मैं श्री माता वैष्णो देवी जम्मू कश्मीर में कोच हूँ। और ये शीतल देवी जो हमारी बच्ची है, मेरी स्टूडेंट है, ये किश्तवाड़ से ही है, जम्मू कश्मीर से ही है। तो ये मेरे पास में आई और वो दिन था सर, आज का दिन है कि शीतल देवी को मैंने मतलब जब मेरे पास आई तो उसको मतलब ये लगता था कि मैं कर नहीं पाऊंगी, लेकिन मैंने इसको मोटिवेट किया, मैंने बताया।
मुझे इसलिए ये सवाल पूछना पड़ा। मुझे आपको देख के ना त्रिशूल के अमिताभ बच्चन की याद आती है। उसमें कहा जाता है कि अमिताभ बच्चन कुछ कर लेता है तो कहते हैं कि नहीं, ये बड़ी बात नहीं कि उसने कर लिया, उसे पता था कि वो कर लेगा। वो मतलब मैं जब भी बातचीत करता था, आप कहते थे वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप, मेरे लिए बड़ा मुझे लगता था कि हाँ, थोड़ा हैरानी होती थी।
सर, जब शीतल मेरे पास आई तो उसको भी मतलब कहीं ना कहीं लगता था कि मैं कैसे करूँगी, लेकिन मैंने शीतल को बोला था कि बेटे जैसे मैं बोलता जाऊंगा ऐसे करते जाओ और देखना एक दिन वो दिन होगा कि बुलंदी मतलब तुम्हारे साथ होगी और तुम ये नेशनल नहीं, इंटरनेशनल और ओलंपिक में देश की ख्याति और देश का झंडा लहरा होगी।
Cricket news now. BCCI Secretary Jay Shah has been elected unopposed as the next independent chair of the International Cricket Council. He will assume role on this 1st of December this year. Shah was voted into the chair unanimously after no one else filed nomination to become the head of ICC. The Indian women's team captain Harmanpreet Kaur has said that she wants to give Indian cricket fans another reason to celebrate this year. Under her captaincy, the team will be playing the T20 World Cup in UAE. Harmanpreet Kaur wants her team to draw inspiration from Indian men's T20 team. While the men's team won the title after 17 years and lifted an ICC trophy after 11 years, the women's team is yet to lift a cup. They came close in 2020 edition and they were runners-up in Australia. Time for a quick break on the show. More on the other side. Stay tuned.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Rishika Barwa. Top focus story continues to remain what's going to happen on the streets of Kolkata after the violent protests yesterday. The BJP has called for yet another bandh. Saurav Gupta will join us live. But first up, the headlines. BJP in Bengal once again calls for a bandh today over the rape and murder of the 31-year-old doctor in Kolkata. The bandh this time has been called not demanding for justice but against the police crackdown on protesters yesterday. The TMC says the BJP is looking for petty political gains. Me Too storm hits the Malayalam film industry with now another actor, Sonia Malhar, coming forward and filing a sexual harassment complaint with the SIT. Actor Meenu Munir has now alleged that there are threats to her life after she filed a complaint. Sexual abuse complaints against Mollywood actors and directors continue to spiral. NDA touches the majority mark in the Rajya Sabha. The BJP and allies win 11 of the 12 Rajya Sabha seats in the by-polls. The passing of the contentious bill is likely to become easier for the NDA. 7 people have died after heavy rainfall across the state of Gujarat. The army has been mobilized for relief and rescue operation, with the Chief Minister monitoring the situation. This following intense rainfall and waterlogging across multiple cities in the state. And it's a sporting record of sorts for the US Open match that has played for over 5 hours. It's the longest match in the US Open history. Well, chaotic scenes played out on the streets of Kolkata yesterday as police intercepted 200 protesters, stopping them as they decided to march to the State Secretariat Nabanno over the rape and murder of the 31-year-old doctor in Kolkata's Agri Medical College and Hospital. The riot police used tear gas shells, water cannons and batons to stop protesters from proceeding towards the State Secretariat. Some of the protesters were also seen throwing stones towards cops. Now the BJP has given a call for a 12-hour strike in West Bengal tomorrow to protest police action.
बहुत घिनौना एटीट्यूड, घिनौना। इन लोग का जो पीछे का स्पाइनल कॉर्ड है ना, वो बेच दिया है, पूरा बेच गया है। आज जिस तरह से पुलिस सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर को अमान्य किया है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट बार बार बोल दिया है कि आरजी का रिलेटेड इश्यू में शांतिपूर्ण मिছিল में आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हम लोग देखे हैं पूरा निरस्त्र स्टूडेंट, बुजुर्ग, बच्चों, उसके ऊपर पुलिस उठा के पत्थर उठा के फेंक रहे। इसका पिक्चर मेरे पास है। लाठीचार्ज किया है, वाटर कैनन दिया है।
All right, now the BJP, remember, is claiming that the bandh that they've called for today is in fact against the police action on peaceful protesters. They allege that this was a non-political protest and these were ordinary members of civil society, including students and common citizens who were marching towards the secretariat demanding justice. What we're given to understand is that 200 people were arrested yesterday in the protest that spiraled on the streets of Kolkata, with the police having to resort to lathi charge, tear gas and even water cannons in order to bring the protests under control. Today, there's a fresh bandh that the BJP has called for 12 hours. We'll continue to track the details of what happens on the streets of Kolkata very closely. Moving on, the Supreme Court appointed National Task Force to formulate a protocol for healthcare professionals met for the first time yesterday. Today, the Union Home Secretary as well as the Union Health Secretary will be chairing a crucial meeting on doctors' safety. The state DGPs will also be participating in the meeting. Remember, doctors across the country were out on the streets protesting, demanding safety and security, demanding a strict law that grants a safety net to doctors working in harsh conditions across the country. On the orders of the Supreme Court, doctors withdrew the protest and resumed OPD and non-essential services. But now, doctors, of course, keeping a close watch as far as the National Task Force is concerned. This was a task force that was set up by the Supreme Court, saying that this is a committee that will closely look into the demands of the doctors. That committee, in fact, is going to be, has already had its first meeting, the National Task Force meeting that took place yesterday. And today what we're given to understand is that they are going to be in a huddle. The Home Secretary, the Health Secretary are going to be in a huddle with state DGPs in order to come up with a concrete plan of action. Let's go right across to NDTV's Tanushka joining us with the very latest on this story. So Tanushka, all eyes on that crucial meeting that's going to take place between the Home Secretary and the Health Secretary over deliberating on what the strategy going forward is going to be as far as ensuring safety and security of our doctors. The doctors, of course, have been unequivocal in their demand that they want a law that guarantees their safekeeping.
Right, Rishika, the doctors, after the incident that happened at Agri Medical College and Hospital in Kolkata, came onto the roads and were protesting. The services, elective services, were at a halt because they were demanding not just for justice but also for a central protection law to be brought about for the safety of all medical professionals across the country. Keeping this into note, the Supreme Court also ensured and gave their assurance to the doctors to come back to work. The Supreme Court urged the doctors and directed to form a national task force. Now, this national task force had its first meeting yesterday, and in today's meeting as well, which will be co-chaired by the Union Health Secretary as well as the Union Home Secretary, there will be Chief Secretaries of the state and State Director Generals of Police also present in this meeting that will be done via video conferencing. What we understand is that this meeting is primarily focusing on state subjects. The state secretaries will raise their safety provision requirements as per the requirements that are needed in their state hospitals, and suggestions will be taken in from all the state subjects in this meeting. What we also understand is that the NTF has received 400 suggestions until now with respect to the safety and security measures for medical health professionals. And an online portal has also been opened, which is under the title of Suggestions to NTF. This portal has been opened by the Health Ministry, and via this portal, online recommendations can be sent in from anyone, not just medical professionals, doctors, but across board, across the country, anyone. The NTF will also look into bring about measures such as placing baggage as well as person checks at every entry point of these hospitals, and also set up separate male and female sleeping rooms for the medical professionals who work late night shifts, so whenever that is. So all around for doctors across the country, the National Task Force is expected to submit its interim report in the next 3 weeks. and its final guidelines in the next 2 months as per the Supreme Court's directive after taking suo motu cognizance of the rape and murder case at the Agri Medical College and Hospital. Back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Tanushka, for joining us with all that latest information. We'll, of course, continue to track the details of that meeting very closely. Let's now shift our focus back to what's happening in Kolkata. Saurabh Gupta joins us live. Saurabh, chaotic scenes played out yesterday. You were, of course, reporting on the protest, but we're given to understand that the BJP has now given a call for another 12-hour strike in West Bengal today. What are you seeing on the ground?
Well, after yesterday's stone pelting, throwing of bottles, attacking policemen and large-scale vandalism, following which the police used tear gas, water cannons and lathi charge to control the situation, today also the BJP has given, of course, a call for a 12-hour bandh. However, we are at Rashbihari and this is one of the prominent, road crossings or road squares in South Kolkata. And while the traffic may be a little less thin than other days, there are people who have come out and gone to work. Shops and establishments, of course, open a little later. So obviously, we're not sure if they're all going to open or not. But at this point, though, buses definitely a little more emptier than what they would be on a normal day. But from the suburbs of Calcutta, there are several incidents of BJP workers trying to block trains, trying to block, road traffic, and also even attempting to stop people from using metro services. So these are, of course, the BJP workers who are out on the streets today to try and enforce the bandh. However, when it comes to bandhs itself, we must remember on a similar issue in Maharashtra of just a few days ago, the opposition parties there had called a bandh. However, the Bombay High Court in its ruling made certain observations, and that, of course, led to calling off of the bandh. Obviously, similar practice hasn't prevailed here, even though the Trinamool indicated that, where the BJP is in power in Maharashtra, where the High Court has given such a ruling, perhaps, similar sentiment should prevail in West Bengal as well. But bandhs itself, of course, there are a lot of people who feel inconvenienced, feel strongly against bandhs. The courts have ruled several times in favor of bandh, but at this point you can see a lot of traffic on the roads. It's not a bandh day traffic, but normal traffic, a little less than normal, I would say. But there are people in buses. You can see that the buses there are people traveling to work. And, obviously, nothing like yesterday where there were barricades put up to stop people from going to Nabanno. Today, of course, there have been reports of trains being blocked in Hooghly, a road blockade in Paikpara, trying to block the metro, passengers from accessing the metro and Esplanade. These things have come in, but at this point, though, things largely seem to be normal, even though there are, sporadic protests by BJP workers in some parts of the city and suburbs.
Thanks very much, Saurabh, for joining us with all that update. We will, of course, keep tracking the details of the story with you very closely. Well, moving on to the other big story that we're tracking. Actor Mohanlal has resigned as the president of the Under Fire Association of Malayalam Movie Actors, or AMMA as it's called, following a barrage of sexual assault and rape allegations against some of Mollywood's biggest names. This includes veteran actors like Siddique and filmmaker Ranjith Balakrishnan. All members of the film body's executive committee have submitted resignations. In the latest, Revati Sampath has also filed sexual harassment complaints against Siddique. What we're given to understand is that actor Meenu Munir, who came out against the top actors of the industry, has now alleged that she is in fact getting threats. There's a threat to her life after she came forward with these complaints. We're also given to understand that there's another actor by the name of Sonia Malhar who's now filed a complaint with the SIT. So clearly, women speaking out against age-old violence. What's also been really shocking as far as the story is concerned is that there was a Justice Hema committee report that was publicly released only last week, While the report includes multiple shocking stories of abuse, this report was actually submitted to the Kerala government back in 2019, but it was in fact buried. Joining Uma Sudhir now joins us with all the latest on this story. Uma, you've been tracking the details of the story very closely. More and more dirt continues to come out, with more and more actors now feeling emboldened in a certain sense, to come out and share their ordeal. SIT complaints have been filed, and while of course more and more people speak out, there's also another actor who's now alleged that she's being threatened for speaking out. So it all lies now on the SIT as to what happens next as far as these charges are concerned.
So what we understand is that as many as 17 cases have now been reported to the special investigation team that was set up by Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan to investigate into the cases of sexual assault or harassment or misconduct or misbehavior, as the case may be. We did see, of course, the latest of Siddique against a case of rape, and also intimidation, physical intimidation has also been booked against him for an incident that allegedly took place in 2016. And she had spoken about it in 2019. Subsequently, Siddique had, of course, resigned. Before this, we saw Sri Lekha Mitra also coming out and complaining, and that was also converted into a complaint with the SIT, and her statement has been recorded by the SIT, is what we understand. Sonia Malhar has not named the actor, but she has said that she was groped during a shoot in 2013, and she has also come out and complained. So as many as 17 such cases have so far come to light, and some of them are women who have not spoken out now in the public domain, nor are there testimonies there in the Hema Commission report. So these are new cases that are also now coming out in the public domain. And what is going to be significant today is also, we understand that Meenu Munir's statement is in fact going to be recorded by the special investigation team. And remember, Meenu Munir had spoken about several actors. That includes Kollam CPM MLA Mukesh, actor Jayasuriya, as well as at least 3 other actors that she had named in her complaint. And IG Sparjan Kumar has said that, who is heading this SIT, has said that a separate team would in fact be recording that. So while we are talking about Mukesh, Jayasuriya, Maniam Pillai, Raju and Edavela Babu, all of them being named by Meenu Munir, her statement to be recorded today, will that have a political fallout on the CPM MLA? That's something that we would need to wait and watch. Interestingly, the union minister, who is the BJP MP from Thrissur, Suresh Gopi, has not taken the same stand as the BJP in Kerala. He seemed to suggest that these men are not really, guilty yet, and yes, the investigation has to be carried forward, and he has not taken any stand similar to the BJP in Kerala, and therefore, in a sense, they have distanced themselves from the statements that are made by Suresh Gopi, who seemed very upset when the media, in fact, confronted him, asking him questions about his reaction to the Hema Commission report. He's someone who was also part of the Association of Malayalam Movie Actors, and he was not someone who was part of the committee, but certainly was someone who also voted in the June 30 election that happened to the AMMA committee. Of course, they have now resigned en masse, and we understand that a new committee will have to take their place. But again, Shami Tilagan, he is, as an actor who had in fact questioned the silence of Mohanlal as president of AMMA after the release of the Hema Commission, he is now asking, why did the entire executive committee need to resign? There may be a few individuals who are being accused of wrongdoing. It is they who must resign and not the entire committee, and that could be another attempt, in a sense, he says, to put pressure, saying that we are all together in it. Back to you.
All right. Well, Uma, all eyes now on what happens next. Like we've been reporting, there are so many different actors who've now come forward sharing their ordeal, and it takes a lot of courage, to come out and share these stories, the horror stories of what they've been through, abuse and discrimination for years on end. One really hopes that justice is in fact served in this case. But do stay on with us, Uma, because the other big development that we're tracking, of course, is the fact that BRS leader K. Kavita finally walked out of jail yesterday after 5 long months of being in Tihar jail. This after the Supreme Court granted her bail in the Delhi excise policy case. The Supreme Court has granted K. Kavita bail in both the CBI and the ED cases against her. Kavita said that there was a vindictive agenda against her and she intends to fight this out both legally and politically. Remember, she's the second politician to be granted bail in the liquor policy case after Manish Sisodia. Let's listen in to what she said.
We were always tough. We are fighters. We will fight it out legally. We will fight it out politically. We were always tough. By sending us to jail illegally, they've only made BRS and KCR's team unbreakable.
See, Kavita getting bail today indicates the clear nexus between BJP and BRS. We have been saying that BRS and BJP party are in close nexus for the last 10 years. Now it got exposed.
All right, so Uma is now back with us on this story. Uma, it's shot in the arm as far as K. Kavita is concerned. She's been in jail for the last 5 months after Manish Sisodia. She walked out of jail, but she seems intent on the fact that she's innocent. This is an active vendetta and she'll continue to fight it both legally and politically.
Yes, indeed. Kavita is defiant, saying that she'll fight it both politically and legally, and she is not going to be cowed down by the kind of political pressures that have come on her in the form of her incarceration as well. Yes, she spent 5.5 months in jail, and yesterday the Supreme Court granted her bail, and emotional scenes of reunion with her family members, including her son, husband, her brother K.T. Ramarao, and also a cousin Harish Rao, and several other MLAs of her party and other leaders who had in fact gathered in Delhi hoping for her release and to welcome her out of jail. So she's expected to take the 2:30 flight out of Delhi and arrive here later in the evening. This comes at a time when the BRS in many senses is on the back foot here in Telangana, considering that the defeat that they suffered in the assembly election, followed by the arrest of Kavita and the blank that they drew in the parliament elections. The BRS is once again now in the last few weeks playing the role of an opposition, being very much the questioning kind of a party that an opposition is meant to be, even though their numbers had in fact gone down. In the last few weeks, we have actually not seen any more desertions. That is possibly also because K.T. Ramarao, Harish Rao and others have taken up issues, almost every issue, and been very aggressive on it, and we expect Kavita would be doing the same to keep the BRS party in many senses, the morale of the BRS party also high. Yesterday, significantly, the Supreme Court's observations were quite important. They spoke about the difference that is being sought to be made between the people, multiple people who were made accused in this case, saying that you cannot choose anyone to become an approver and someone else to become the accused, without any logical kind of a rationale for it. The second important thing is, of course, that she can get the benefits that are granted under Section 45 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, and quite scathing comments on the High Court denying her bail, saying that she is an influential, educated woman, and the court, in fact, Supreme Court saying that by that yardstick, no educated woman would be granted bail, and therefore they said that because the charge sheet has already been filed and the investigation has been completed and trial is going to take a long time, therefore she can be given bail.
All right. Well, important words, that the Supreme Court has used while granting K. Kavita bail. Similar, narrative as far as Manish Sisodia's bail is concerned as well. And these are important watershed cases and bails that have been granted, Uma, that one sincerely hopes are used as a precedence in other cases as well. Thank you very much for joining us with all those latest updates. We'll keep coming back to you for more. Meanwhile, the Kannada actor Darsan, who is in judicial custody in a murder case, is now being shifted to the Bellary jail after a massive controversy over his pictures, where he's seen hanging out with 3 other jail inmates. The pictures can be, he can be seen drinking and smoking in those pictures, even doing a video call. The BJP really is hit out at Congress government, specifically DK Shivakumar, alleging that, he's been given this VVIP treatment only after DK Shivakumar actually went and met him in jail, something that DK Shivakumar has denied in an interview to my colleague Pratibha Raman yesterday. Let's go right across to Pratibha now joining us. Pratibha, the Darsan jail party, so to speak, has gone completely viral with, political slugfest and accusations flying thick and fast. We're now given to understand that the Karnataka government has swung into action. Jail officials have been suspended and also he's been ordered to be shifted to a Bellary prison. Has that shift already happened? What's the latest as far as the story is concerned?
In fact, the order from the 24th ACMM court came in yesterday, ordering the shifting of several of the jail inmates, including Mr. Darsan, from the Bengaluru prison to Bellary prison there. Of course, the other jail inmates would be shifted to different other jails there. This was the order that was sought from the court yesterday. But today, interestingly, the judicial custody of Darsan in the murder case ends, and he would be produced through a video conference at the court is what is likely to happen. And with respect to whatever the court orders, there would be the shifting of Darsan from Bengaluru prison to Bellary prison. That is likely to the process to begin soon after the court hearing today.
All right. Thanks very much, Pratibha, for joining us with all the latest. Let's shift our focus now to all the latest political developments from Haryana. The BJP Central Election Committee is going to be meeting today. Meeting expected to be chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at JP Nadda's residence is where the meeting is in fact going to take place. The names of all 90 candidates for the October 1 elections are likely to be decided. Amit Shah, the Organizational Secretary, BL Santosh and Haryana Chief Minister as well as former Chief Minister are all likely to be present. Let's go right across to NDTV's Gurpreet joining us with the very latest. Gurpreet, countdown to the Haryana poll. There's a crucial BJP huddle, the meeting that is purportedly going to decide the final list of 90 candidates as far as the BJP is concerned. What are you picking up?
Well, yes, of course. We have seen political party has, specifically BJP, has already conducted a survey to understand whether there is any anti-incumbency against the government or not. What we have learned from the sources, they say they have also done a survey to understand about the MLA candidate. What we have learned, some of the MLAs who are not in connection with the grassroots level workers, their tickets will be chopped off in this meeting, and after that they are going to decide the new candidature also. But that will be clear once this meeting will be completed, and after that we will see what type of political strategy they are making for this polls and how they are going to select a candidate as an MLA. The main challenge before the BJP is that they have been ruling in the state for the last two terms and they have been trying to woo the voters on the basis of the development or the other work which they have already done. They have to even nullify anti-incumbency against the government, and for that they have been doing a marathon debate with a lot of people within the party to understand the candidate. They want to give such type of candidate where the grassroots level workers should be feel connected, and that is the task which they are trying to understand from all the grassroots network. We have seen one of the leaders, most of the leaders of the BJP, they are already holding a meeting with the grassroots level workers to just understand what type of a mood of the people of Haryana. So let's see what will be outcome of this meeting, which has already been scheduled to be happen, and they are going to discuss the political strategy for Haryana polls. Back to studio.
All right, thanks very much for joining us with all the latest. We'll keep coming back to you for more updates. Remember, it's a big BJP meeting, a huge, a big huddle that has in fact been planned as the BJP has its task cut out for itself in the upcoming Haryana election. Let's shift our focus from Jammu and Kashmir to the other poll-bound state, Jammu and Kashmir. Well, the filing of nominations for the first phase ended yesterday. The first phase of the election will be taking place on the 18th of September. Leaders across parties, including several independent candidates, made a beeline for the district collector's office for papers to be filed in time. Banned outfit Jamaat-e-Islami is also fielding at least 3 of its former members as independent candidates from South Kashmir. The BJP has released its list of candidates so far, a total of 45 names, and in the nick of time, the Congress and the NC have also put their house in order, releasing their seat-sharing agreement, a list of candidates. Tracking all the latest political developments from the state of Jammu and Kashmir, Nazir now joins us live this morning. Nazir, good morning to you. Battleground Jammu and Kashmir, the first phase of nominations ended yesterday. The first phase of elections, of course, going to take place on the 18th of September, just 2 weeks from now. What's the latest?
279 candidates filed their nomination papers for 24 assembly constituencies. So all the parties, and more importantly, independent candidates, they are different, linked to different political actors or the groups. One group is like Jamaat Islami. They are not contesting elections, even as Jamaat had expressed its willingness to fight elections if the government lift ban on this group. Jamaat has been banned under UAPA anti-terror law in 2019. Since then, it remained as a banned organization. But some people, at least 4 candidates who are believed to be linked to Jamaat, filed their nomination papers for 4 assembly constituencies in South Kashmir yesterday. There are also people who are being accused of terror, links or the terror funding or terror charges remain in jail. One of them is also in jail. They also filed their nomination papers. So it is a very, very interesting election beside the bigger battle of NC Congress combined against the BJP and then the PDP also. But this would be also interesting, those people who were either boycotting the election in the past or issuing boycott calls and asking people not to vote. They are now part of this election. And what this could be the election process in Kashmir, when you see jubilations, firecrackers. Otherwise, in many places in the past, we have seen even candidates hiding their face. Up supporters were not willingly to come out because of the fear of the gun. So this is the election which is being conducted in different atmosphere, different situation. Also, there's also political realities, facts on the ground has changed post abrogation of Article 370. Delimitations of seats has been carried out. So people, political parties and the candidates have to grapple up with the new realities, new political realities on the ground and fight these elections. And above all, this election is being fought without the fear of gun, even as we see major attacks have happened in the recent past, but they have been, restricted, targeting the army. But when it comes to the political activity, they have largely remained, free. And gun has actually lost its corrosive power because it's the public power, people's power, which can defeat any other force. And here we see yesterday 279 candidates filing their nomination papers for the first phase, and they have been challenged for all the sides. BJP is, battling its own in-house problems after the candidate list was released. A few days back, they were forced to, cancel a list, but yesterday they again, released the list and released the fresh list. There was just change of one name for the Mata Vaishno Devi constituency in Jammu. Rest all the names remain intact; they remain the same. So there has been, rebellion, and the challenge BJP is saying because some of the important names have been dropped in the list, but BJP says they are going to manage it and everybody will fall in line.
All right. Well, it's a historic election as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, Nazir, and you've covered several of them, but this one is going to be different. The first election after the abrogation of Article 370. And, while, of course, Jammu and Kashmir will be celebrating, the democratic exercise, it is indeed political parties that have their task cut out for themselves. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll keep coming back to you for more updates. Now, after taking oath as Prime Minister for the 3rd consecutive time, the Union Council of Ministers are all set to meet in the national capital for the first time since the Modi 3.0 government came into place. It's the first Council of Ministers meeting of the Modi 3.0 government. Prime Minister Modi will be chairing the Council of Ministers meeting at the Sushma Swaraj Bhavan at 5 p.m. this evening. And sources have said that at least 6 ministries will be making presentations laying out the roadmap for the first 100 days of the government. Aishwarya has the details.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi took that historic oath as the Prime Minister, and this time it's a coalition government, and therefore the reason perhaps important portfolios had been given to the alliances as well. It is TDP's Ram Mohan Naidu who's holding the aviation ministry. It is Chirag Paswan of the LCP holding ministry as well, and perhaps it is the first time after Prime Minister Narendra Modi to put as the Prime Minister, and he will be chairing this Council of Ministers meeting. All the cabinet ministers and the MOS will be in attendance at Sushma Swaraj Bhavan at NDTV at around 5 p.m. and what the sources have clearly indicated to us is that at least 6 of the ministries will give presentation to what they have done in the last, in last few months of the governance and what's their roadmap ahead. And rest of the ministries will also give their presentations in brief to Prime Minister chairing this meeting. Remember, it's at 10:30 a.m. today when the cabinet meeting has also been called by Prime Minister. Important decisions, of course, are on the line as far as the agenda is concerned regarding the infrastructure project, regarding the aviation projects as well in the country, and some major funds to be allocated in terms of the finance departments as well. Remember, yesterday it was stated by the government that 10 years of PM Jandhan Yojana had already been completed, and that had given light to all those middle class people who had assured that their accounts are opened, and 3 crore more accounts are to be opened in next 1 year, and that's the target of the government is.
All right, moving on, the government is celebrating a decade of the Jandhan Yojana scheme, calling it a decade of financial inclusion. The government has said that Jandhan has become the backbone of India's digital economy with a total of 531 million accounts, outnumbering the population of the European Union. The government claims that 2.31 trillion rupees is the balance in the account of the beneficiaries, and it has been particularly beneficial for over 2.5 million women account holders, especially during the period of COVID. So the government there celebrating its milestone, claiming that the Jandhan Yojana has connected many to the formal financial system. Let's get an update from Charu Singh, NDTV Prophet, joining us with the very latest. Thanks very much, Charu, for joining us this morning. The government, of course, celebrating a decade of financial inclusion in terms of the Jandhan Yojana. There have obviously been a lot of economic implications of this scheme as well. But break it down for us. What does this decade really involve?
So the Pradhan Mantri Jandhan Yojana is successfully completing its 10 years, and it is basically aimed at integrating the poor and marginalized of the country in the economic infrastructure. So here are the key takeaways. First of all, over 2.31 lakh crore rupees are under the deposits or the balances of the Yojana, and around 53 or 55% of the account holders are women. And we must also consider that over 66% of the account holders are in rural or semi-urban areas. Now, coming on to the number of account holders. So this scheme, this Yojana had around 15 crore in 2015, the account holders, which has now increased to about 53.14 crore. So obviously the Yojana has basically spread to very small nooks and crevices, and is helping people, and the deposits are also increasing. So let's see how it plays out in the other decade, and we are very optimistic about it.
All right, 10 years of the Pradhan Mantri Jandhan Yojana, and there is a lot really as far as financial services, basic credit and integration that the government is in fact celebrating, believing that they have connected millions to a formal financial system. Thanks very much for joining us, Charu, with all those latest updates. Moving on, the government's move for farmers' inclusion has now, taken a new form in terms of a grievance redressal mechanism that is soon to be put in place. Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has said that he's going to be personally monitoring the new grievance redressal forum for farmers. And this forum essentially includes complaints to be registered via phone calls. Make no mistake, this is a crucial outreach to the farming community coming close on the heels of the Haryana elections, the state which has really been the epicenter of the farmer protests against the current government. Let's go right across to NDTV's Anurag Dwari joining us with the very latest. Anurag, of course, will break it down and explain to us in terms of what the larger contours are of this particular move.
As you have asked for this, the broader plan of Shivraj Singh Chauhan, basically he urged the officials, for offering on-ground solution to the farmers. So he urged the officials, scientists, ministers to go sit in the field with the farmers and understand. Like he also quoted an example of farmer building poly house and then not receiving the subsidy for the poly house. So he urged, basically he said that they will prepare a mechanism where everything will be on a phone call away. These are small issues, and farmer really struggle a lot, because we have seen in several areas of Madhya Pradesh also. So basically he said that the officials will be just a phone call away, and he will personally monitor all the grievances, because we have seen what MP has achieved during his tenure as Chief Minister of the state, because when the national average of agriculture growth was around 3.8%, MP grew at more than 7%, and the state also received Krishi Karman award for several times, and now 60% of the population of the state is engaged in farming. So he basically said that a mechanism will develop, and he also prioritized few things like he said boosting food security, reducing production costs, ensuring fair prices, compensating for natural disasters, diversifying crops, and preserving land. Because few days back, while talking to Shivraj Singh Chauhan, we pointed out that how in Madhya Pradesh we have soil laboratories, but we don't have enough soil scientists or the machinery for testing the soil of the farmers. So these are the small issues, but farmers struggle a lot. He also said that the farmers are not only annadatas, but they are also Jeevan datas. He mentioned that how during the COVID time, the farmers were the ones who were generating employment.
Well, moving on now to a special segment on air pollution. Well, pollution's impact on life expectancy has been studied and recorded by several experts. Now, a new report by the University of Chicago has pointed out that key markers on air pollution have a huge impact as far as life expectancy is concerned. While there is a huge challenge to meet certain requirements, it is very important to note that the greatest external threat to life expectancy actually comes from pollution. And while there are some very highly placed policy ambitions as far as controlling air pollution is concerned, it's also highly unequal. The world particulate pollution in India did drop between 2021 and 2022, and this decline in fact added 1 year to India's average life expectancy. The reason we're talking about this is because imagine if we did get our pollution problem under control or under the regulated norms, it would entail a healthier and longer life for all Indians. Well, joining me on the broadcast this morning, Tanushree Ganguly. She is the director of the Air Quality Life Index, EQLI, University of Chicago, and co-author of this report. Thanks very much, Tanushree, for being with us this morning. I want to ask you very simply that one particular point in the report that really sticks, which is the fact that, in that 1 year, presumably because of the COVID-19 lockdown, when the air pollution levels did come under permissible limits, it added 1 year to the life expectancy of Indians. I think that really tells us, what it will be like if we actually bring our pollution problem under control.
Yes, first of all, thank you, Rishika, for having me on the show. And I just want to open up by saying that this is our annual reminder to let citizens and policymakers know what a future with clean air could look like.
Yes.
I mean, it's not all grim, right? I mean, the way we talk about air pollution has significant impacts on human health, human life expectancy, but there is also a vision for clean air. And if we get exposed to the clean air, then of course, human beings can live longer. And that's what this report tries to back with very concrete information from across the world. Like you very beautifully summarized, I think one of the key takeaways for us while we were putting together this report, of course, beyond the fact that air pollution is, the largest external threat to human life expectancy, but the impacts of air pollution are also extremely unequal. So, I mean, we found that if you compare people living in, the cleanest parts of the world and people living in the most polluted parts of the world, I mean, people who are living in the most polluted parts of the world, they are likely to lose more than 2.7 years of their life compared to those in the cleanest parts. I think this number also increases if we sort of zoom into India. So I think there are two stories here. One, of course, it's the greatest health threat.
Yes.
But two, also the impacts are very unequal, and it's important to internalize the inequality issue that air pollution also.
I think, Tanushree, when it comes to the inequality issue, I think that's where the India story is particularly grim, isn't it? Because your report very clearly says that people in the most polluted places are breathing 6 times more polluted air, right? That's one. And, life expectancy is being, of course, reduced, but 37 of the 94 countries are not meeting national standards. And the countries that are not meeting the national standards largely are also the most populated countries, if I'm not wrong.
That's correct. So, luckily, if I sort of zoom out a little bit and give you a whole picture of the statistic. So when we say that 37 countries, the 94 countries out of the 252 countries that we have analyzed have standards. So that sort of 94 countries covers 80% of the world's population. Now, within those 94 countries, 30% of the people, they are living in regions that don't meet their country's standards. Now, for instance, in South Asia, which has sort of traditionally been considered the epicenter of pollution, most countries have an annual ambient air quality standard, right? Which sort of guides how mitigation policies need to be put in place. But, if we look at Central and Western Africa, or even the MENA region, which are now sort of emerging, and also our report highlights that they are emerging as sort of problematic pollution zones, there not as many countries have standards. So, while some countries which have traditionally been considered as polluted are now responding with standards or have standards, countries which are emerging as pollution hotspots are yet to have standards.
I want to also understand from you, Tanushree, as far as India is concerned, we're often guilty of only talking about the pollution problem when it's actually really hard to breathe. And that typically happens in the winter months, especially here in parts of North India, in the national capital region particularly, where we really face the brunt of the worst of air pollution, when it skyrockets and reaches those 999 sort of figures and everything. Around the year, we don't really seem to care about air pollution or talk about it, and I think the national media is guilty of that particularly. So it's interesting that we have you on the show today, because this is a good time to really be able to talk about what can be done to prevent us from reaching those deadly levels that we do year after year and yet seem to find no solution for it. What do you think is a good starting point to solving the problem?
Right. So before responding to your question, I just want to highlight that the reason why we put out this report is for people to realize that air pollution is not, a very episodic problem, or it's not a seasonal problem. This report takes into account long-term exposure to pollution level. We look at annual exposure to pollution levels, and then we compute the impact on human life expectancy. So while, we've sort of internalized that air pollution only sort of increases during those winter months, that is not the case. The truth is that we are exposed to unsafe levels of pollution throughout the year. Now, on to your question about, what can we really do? I think history tells us, and examples from across the world, whether it's the US or China or Japan, tells us that countries have not been successful in reducing their pollution without forceful policy action and deliberate efforts towards enforcing standards.
Yes.
And when I say standards here, I mean ambient air quality standards, I mean emission standards that exist for industries as well as vehicles. So unless and until there is deliberate effort toward ensuring that these standards are being enforced on ground, we will not be able to solve the pollution problem.
I want to just ask you a very specific question. When we talk about air pollution, China is now cited as a success story. They've really been able to sort of turn the narrative around as far as air pollution is concerned. The United States has done it, Europe has done it. Why do you think a country like India finds it particularly hard to do? I mean, we are the worst. I mean, our pollution levels are completely off the charts. We're not even talking about coming within the normal range. I mean, as far as India is concerned, and like you very rightly said, we may wake up to it when we actually physically can't breathe and therefore talk about it, but it's a year-round problem. Why do you think India is not being able to put a cap on it?
So I would like to highlight here that India has a national clean air program.
Yes, we do.
And if we look at the national clean air program, our sort of estimations tell us that if India were to reduce its pollution by, the 20 to 30% mark compared to 2017 levels, Indians could gain up to 2.1 years in life expectancy, particularly in those 100 plus cities, which are sort of covered by the NCAP framework. And that's what exactly I'm trying to say. This is a policy target which already exists. There is a direction towards which India needs to work. And all we now need is forceful implementation of this policy.
All right. So, I think implementation in a certain sense boils down to political will and, of course, the will of the people. It's time that we hold those in power accountable and ensure that things that exist on paper actually, translate into concrete action in helping India solve the air pollution problem. Because like Tanushree said, there are countries now that have successfully managed to turn it around. India has the necessary literature, it's on paper, the research is all there, the plan of actions are all there. It's only a question of making sure that they are implemented. After all, your and my life depends on it now. Thanks very much, Tanushree, for joining us this morning on Good Morning India. Well, that's all the time we have. We're going to slip into a very short break. We'll bring you a lot more on the other side. To stay with us.
Get the magic of the best working for you now.
Link your payment cards once, collect rewards forever.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Welcome back. The ruling NDA has reached a majority mark in the Rajya Sabha as 9 BJP members, 2 from the allies, were elected unopposed in the by-polls for the upper house. With the 9, the BJP's strength has reached 96 in the upper house, taking the NDA to a total of 112. Now, among the 3 others to get elected unopposed were 1 each from the NDA allies, the NCP faction of Ajit Pawar and the Rashtriya Lok Manch. The ruling alliance also has the support of 6 nominated and 1 independent member. 1 member of the Congress also got elected, taking the opposition numbers in the upper house to 85. The Rajya Sabha has a current strength of about 245 seats, though currently there are 8 vacancies, 4 from Jammu and Kashmir and 4 nominated. With the House's current strength of 237, the majority mark is at 119. Let's make no mistake, the NDA now has crossed the majority mark. Moving on, war of words once again between the Delhi government and the Lieutenant Governor, this time over the crisis at Asha Kiran, where remember 14 infants died due to a shortage of doctors and staff. while the Aam Aadmi Party has blamed the Lieutenant Governor's office. The Lieutenant Governor's office has said that this is due to a technicality, which is the NCC-SA committee, which is responsible for coordinating and monitoring various services and amenities, not meeting. Now in Delhi, health, education, sanitization, infrastructure all looked at by this committee. The Aam Aadmi Party has accused the Delhi's Lieutenant Governor of spreading misinformation, saying that this committee meeting has nothing to do with the deaths. Further, the Aam Aadmi Party has questioned the Lieutenant Governor's office over a 30% vacancy in doctors' posts as well. Meanwhile, there's also a bit of war of words between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Delhi government, between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Delhi Lieutenant Governor, I beg your pardon, over PWD postings, with the two sparring over that as well. Let's go right across to NDTV. Shreya joining us for the very latest. So, Shreya, whether it's doctor shortage or, the PWD authority doing transfers and postings without consultation of the government, the war of words between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Lieutenant Governor only continues to escalate.
That's right. So Delhi Health Minister Saurabh Bharadwaj has highlighted that the so-called NCC-SA meeting is not important because, of course, we have seen that 7 of these Group A officers of PWD have been posted without the NCC-SA meeting. But here the LG is responding to these allegations made by Saurabh Bharadwaj by stating that these doctors' posts, these 30% vacancy in doctors' posts were not made because of A, the meeting did not take place, and B, the lack of approval from the Chief Minister. And of course, it has led to severe mudslinging from both ends. And keeping in mind this tragic death, this 14 deaths that took place in Asha Kiran's shelter home, that was because of understaffed situation there, lack of sufficient number of medical professionals, and that is why this entire situation, this question of appointments being made is being questioned. And of course, the LG has also mentioned that the LG office has stated that 38,000 medical professionals posts are yet to be created by Aam Aadmi Party, and now the Aam Aadmi Party has to respond to these allegations. But Saurabh Bharadwaj has been true to his point that almost 30% vacancy lies in doctors' position, which did not take place because of the NCCA meeting. Over to you.
Thanks very much, Shreya, for joining us with all those latest updates, latest flashpoint there between the Aam Aadmi Party government and the Delhi Lieutenant Governor. Let's shift our focus to the big international story now. Hundreds of Indian student graduates have staged protests across Canada, protesting against the new federal policy in Canada that puts them at the risk of being deported from the country. Remember, there are lakhs of Indians that go to Canada every year, whether it is to study or pursue jobs, and now new policy putting them at risk, leading to massive protests. Parmeshwar Baba with the details.
Many international students, especially from India, had high hopes of starting fresh in Canada. But new immigration changes have thrown a big curveball for over 70,000 graduates. Indian students have been camping out in front of the Legislative Assembly in Prince Edward Island for over 3 months, and protests are now also popping up in Manitoba and British Columbia. So what exactly is changing? Well, the Canadian government is slashing permanent residency nominations by 25% and putting stricter limits on study permits. This actually comes as Canada has been experiencing rapid population growth. In fact, 97% of last year's increase was due to immigration. And then with local housing and job issues heating up, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government is under pressure to cut back on temporary residence. Plus, they're rolling back their 2022 decision to expand temporary foreign worker permits, as we've extensively reported as well. These permits are meant to help fill short-term labor gaps, but now there's a new focus on reducing the influx. Canada is cutting back on temporary foreign workers, reversing a 2022 expansion, and this program, which actually helps fill short-term labor gaps, will see fewer permits issued now, because in 2023, Canada granted about 183,800 temporary foreign worker permits, which was an 88% jump from 2019. However, I must inform our viewers that the Employment and Social Development Canada Department has called out employers for misusing the program to avoid hiring local talent. But these new rules will now deny work permits in these areas where unemployment is 6% or higher, though there are exemptions for key sectors like agriculture, food processing, construction and healthcare. Listen in to what Justin Trudeau had to say.
This fall, we'll be presenting for the first time an immigration's levels plan that doesn't just talk about permanent residents, but also talks about temporary residents, whether it's foreign workers or others. And we're making sure that the entire package makes as much sense as possible for the needs of Canadians and for the needs of our economy. That's why the first steps we're taking today of reducing the number of low-paid temporary foreign workers that can come work in this country is part of the response.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our
It's 10 a.m. You are watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Parmeshwar Baba. We've got an action-packed bulletin lined up for you over the next 1 hour. Let's begin with the headlines we're tracking at the moment. In the horrific Kolkata rape and murder case, BJP has called for a strike today in West Bengal. The strike has been called over a police crackdown on the Nabarno march. The TMC says the BJP is looking for petty political gains. Meanwhile, the West Bengal BJP President, Sukanta Majumdar, has written to the governor saying detention violates students' democratic rights. As the Me Too storm hits the Malayalam film industry, 17 cases have reportedly been booked with the SIT in Kerala. Actor Sonia Malhar has filed a harassment complaint with the SIT. Meanwhile, actor Meenu Munir has alleged threats after her complaint. Several stars, directors, prominent personalities are to face questioning. The NDA touches the majority mark in the upper house of parliament in Rajya Sabha. The BJP and their allies win 11 of 12 seats in the Rajya Sabha by-polls. Passing of contentious bills is likely to be easier for the NDA now. In Gujarat, 7 people have died after heavy rainfall across the state. The army has been mobilized for relief and rescue operations as the Chief Minister monitors the situation. Intense waterlogging has been seen in multiple cities across the state of Gujarat. In the longest match in US Open history, lasting 5 hours and 35 minutes, Britain's Dan Evans stuns Russia's Karen Khachanov. Well, our big focus, the BJP has called for a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. strike in West Bengal to protest against the police action on those who took part in the march to the state secretariat Nabarno over the rape and murder of a 31-year-old doctor in Kolkata. As we have been covering, the Nabarno Abhijan call was actually given by an unregistered student body, the Paschim Banga Chhatra Samaj, and a dissident state government employees platform. The ruling TMC alleged that this was a BJP-backed protest. The protesters were demanding the resignation of West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee over the rape murder of a trainee doctor at the RG Kar Medical College and Hospital in Kolkata. But regarding today's strike, the West Bengal government has urged people not to respond to BJP's Bandh. Let's go across to my colleague Saurabh Gupta, who's joining us from Ground Zero at the moment. Saurabh, the TMC alleging that the BJP is staging this protest for political grounds, but what can you share with us at the moment? What's the situation like in Kolkata?
Well, if you're at Shambazar crossing, which is one of the most prominent, crossings in North Kolkata, then the traffic, I would say, is normal, though a little thinner than what you would see normally on an office day or working day. If you see the buses, the public buses, they are slightly less crowded than what you would see on normal days. But again, you can see some of the buses are absolutely packed also, like they are on working days usually. So normal traffic, normal movement. The BJP, of course, trying its best. Some time ago, they tried people from stopping, access to the metro. But in all of that, after yesterday's violence and stone pelting and, vandalism and also all of that, there's a heavy police presence here at, Shambazar. And to prevent any untoward incident by these protesters who yesterday attacked the police and also pelted stones, following which the police had to use tear gas shells and also water cannons to disperse the crowd. But normal traffic movement, you can see, occasionally the BJP leaders come and try and block, or workers come and try and block traffic. But otherwise, largely things are normal. Today, as you can see, is also the Chhatra Shamabesh, or the foundation day of the Trinamool Congress Students Wing, or the TMCP, which is called the TMCP Chhatra Samaj. And the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has, of course, dedicated today's Foundation Day event to the victim of RG Kar Medical College and Hospital. Shambazar, of course, is very close to the RG Kar Medical College and Hospital. Just down this road, about 2 minutes walk, is RG Kar Medical College and Hospital. But absolutely, you can see a normal day of work. But of course, there are lesser people on the streets. Some of the shops are yet to open, but it would be premature to say they're closed because of the strike, because some of these shops do open late. So obviously, heavy police presence. Traffic is also there on the streets. And as of now, the impact of the Bandh minimal. But wherever the BJP is blocked trains, etc., especially in the suburbs or on the roads, wherever they block traffic, there some impact is being felt.
As always, Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us with the latest. We will, of course, revert to you for regular updates during the course of the day. Meanwhile, the Trinamool said the BJP called a strike to gain political ground, as Saurabh has also been reporting. But the Supreme Court appointed National Task Force to formulate a protocol for healthcare professionals. That met yesterday for the first time. Today, the Union Home and Health Secretary will be chairing a crucial meeting as far as doctor safety is concerned, and the state DGPs will also be present at this meeting. In fact, as far as the conclusion from the first task force meeting on the doctor safety is concerned, I must inform our viewers that the Home Secretary, Health Secretary actually attended this National Task Force meeting. A portal was created for suggestions for members to collate. The suggestions were varied from various departments. In fact, states were asked to provide details of security for doctors, and now the Union Home Secretary is expected to chair this crucial meeting, which state DGPs will also be participating in today. In fact, regarding what the National Task Force will be looking into, well, they will also be looking into the security at emergency rooms, baggage screening to prevent weapon entry, security for crowd control, curbing access for non-patients, gender-neutral rest areas for doctors and nurses will be implemented, and biometric and facial recognition in few areas will also be implemented. With that, let's turn our attention to the other big story we're tracking, the Me Too storm that's hit the Malayalam film industry. Now, I can disclose that 17 cases have reportedly been booked with an SIT in Kerala. Several stars, directors, prominent personalities are expected to face questioning. In fact, actor Mohanlal has resigned as the president of the Under Fire Association of Malayalam Movie Actors following a barrage of sexual assault and rape allegations against some of Mollywood's biggest names. This includes veteran actor Siddique and filmmaker Ranjith Balakrishnan as well. All members of the film body's executive committee have also submitted resignations. And now Revati Sampath has also filed a sexual harassment complaint against Siddique. In fact, a statement from AMMA said the top decision-making body had taken moral responsibility and dissolved itself in light of allegations made by some actors against some of the committee. For the finer details, let's go across to my colleague Uma Sudhir's report.
So what we understand is that as many as 17 cases have now been reported to the special investigation team that was set up by Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan to investigate into the cases of sexual assault or harassment or misconduct or misbehavior as the case may be. We did see, of course, the latest of Siddique against who a case of rape and also intimidation, physical intimidation has also been booked against him for an incident that allegedly took place in 2016. And she had spoken about it in 2019. Subsequently, Siddique had, of course, resigned. Before this, we saw Sri Lekha Mitra also coming out and complaining, and that was also converted into a complaint with the SIT, and her statement has been recorded by the SIT, is what we understand. Sonia Malhar has not named the actor, but she has said that she was groped during a shoot in 2013, and she has also come out and complained. So as many as 17 such cases have so far come to light, and some of them are women who have not spoken out now in the public domain, nor are their testimonies there in the Hema Commission report. So these are new cases that are also now coming out in the public domain. And what is going to be significant today is also we understand that Meenu Munir's statement is in fact going to be recorded by the special investigation team. And remember, Meenu Munir had spoken about several actors, that includes Kollam CPM MLA Mukesh, actor Jayasuriya, as well as at least 3 other actors that she had named in her complaint. And IG Sparjan Kumar has said that, who is heading this SIT, has said that a separate team would in fact be recording that.
Meanwhile, in other crucial news, BRS leader K. Kavita walked out of jail with tears in her eyes after the Supreme Court granted her bail in the Delhi excise policy case. The top court granted her bail in both the Central Bureau of Investigation and the Enforcement Directorate cases against her. And K. Kavita said that there is a vindictive agenda against her and she will fight it out legally. In fact, we have a reaction lined up for you from K. Kavita, followed by what the Congress had to say and Uma Sudhir's report.
We were always tough. We are fighters. We will fight it out legally. We will fight it out politically.